Good morning. This is the Innovation Conversation. How you doing, Tom?
Morning, Kevin. Doing well.
Good to see you. So we're going to do a little something different today. So a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Andy Jassy's letter to investors,
Hmm.
which we reported on here on Morning Newsbeat. Everybody reports on it, and um, we were talking about the idea that he sends letters to all the annual letters to investors, but he doesn't send annual letters to customers. And for lots of reasons. And by the way, he's not alone in that, right? It's a rare retailer where the CEO sends a letter uh, to the customer. But I
Yes.
think we're at a point in time, and certainly this came out the other day when I was writing about the ways in which I thought the Walmart and Target and Home Depot CEOs should have been communicating more effectively and directly with shoppers. We thought Andy Jassy should write a letter to consumers, and so since there's no sign that he's going to do that, we decided to do it for him. So
You're
we,
welcome, Andy.
yeah, yeah, anytime. We're not even going to charge. And so anyway, so what we did, so we basically split it in two. I did the opening, and where I kind of talked about some broader stuff, and then Tom, you took the retail side of it.
I did.
Right. And let's be clear, Tom's piece is more informed than mine because he worked at Amazon for so many years. So I'd say you know it better than I do.
Well,
Uh,
I'd say it's informed a little. It's been quite some time since I was
yes.
there, so it's a lot of it's from the outside. But I will admit that it was influenced by my Amazon Press training. I can't shake that.
So anyway, so what? And we're not going to read the whole thing here. We're going. I'll read a little bit of mine. Tom will read a little bit of his, and then we'll just talk about it. And but in the text version of the innovation conversation, we'll provide the entire letter, so you can read it and make of it what you will, and comment back if you want to. So that's what we're going to do today. So
It'll be
you ready?
fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's why I'm wearing my glasses today, so because I have to read my letter.
and I'm gonna wear my new ones, so I can
Ooh,
read.
look at you.
Yeah. So all right. So it's my opening starts this way. Dear customer, as I read those two words, dear customer, it occurs to me that they seem way too impersonal considering the relationship that you and Amazon have formed over the years, and in many cases, decades. Some of you, if you went back through your purchase history on Amazon, which you can do at any moment, might be astounded by the depth and breadth of our connection, the services you've accessed, the products you've bought, and the degree to which you have grown dependent on Amazon. I want to make an important point here. Amazon also is dependent on you. Without you, often or usually making Amazon your first and often best stop when exploring the world of possibilities online, we would be nothing. And a second important point, we never, ever forget that. And then I did a bunch of other stuff. One of the things that I actually in there, I have Andy making a promise that he's going to write a letter like this every year. But then, I'm making a commitment for you, Andy. Then it goes on, and this is I think substantive in terms of some of what we talk about here all the time. Again, to the customer. Over the years, you've no doubt noticed changes on our site. Lots of advertising, for one thing. Yes, I've noticed it too. In fact, I'm largely responsible for it being there. Since Jeff stepped away and turned the CEO job over to me, one of my responsibilities has been to make sure that this behemoth is sustainable over the long term. Jeff used to say that at some point, quote, Amazon will fail, Amazon will go bankrupt, unquote. My job, if I were to sum it up in one sentence, is to make sure that doesn't happen. One of the ways we are creating a sustainable business model is to identify and implement as many additional revenue streams as possible. This is especially important now with all these crazy tariffs on the table, but don't get me started. Revenue from places other than retail sales allow us to keep our retail prices low. We have a cloud business, Amazon Web Services, that long has helped support our online store, and now advertising revenue is doing the same thing. However, I'm going to make you a promise. We're going to look for ways to make it less intrusive, especially if you've asked for something specific. If you just ask for biographies, we're going to feel empowered to offer you a broad number of recommendations based both on your reading history and, frankly, our advertising customers. But if you ask for a biography of George H.W. Bush by John Meacham, there's no reason you should have to wade through a bunch of other biographies by lesser writers of lesser figures to get there. We want your Amazon to be experience to be both efficient and effective, and we're always working on making it better. So, and then there's a lot of other stuff in there, but that's sort of where I wanted to start out that way because I just thought it was important to set the table. And I always think you address the thing that annoys people first, right? So that was sort of my rationale. So over to you.
I like it. I definitely like it. So, yeah, so I'll build off that. Talk about the retail business, what we're promising the customers in the retail business, what we're working on, and then kind of, how we'll continue to work hard on the customer's behalf. Okay, so here we go. A few words about our retail business. For nearly 30 years, Amazon has been guided by a simple promise to offer great selection at great prices delivered quickly. This customer obsession has been at the heart of everything we do, and it continues to drive us forward today. We know you have many choices in where to shop, and we never take your trust for granted. Every day, teams across Amazon are working to improve your experience, making more products available to serve more of your needs, lowering prices, and getting your orders to you faster. We'd like to share an update on how we're continuing to invest in and evolve our retail business with your needs at the center. Selection is foundational to your shopping experience. We want you to be able to find virtually anything you're looking for on Amazon, whether it's your weekly household essentials, a last-minute gift, a hard-to-find item, or the latest must-have product. We're continuously adding new categories and expanding the depth of selection within existing ones. And then I talk about some of the new category offerings. Our third-party seller community plays a huge role in this. Millions of sellers from around the world list their products on Amazon, offering you even more choices. We're constantly innovating on behalf of sellers to help them grow their businesses and bring more selection to more customers, all while holding them to high standards of quality, authenticity, and customer service. Our pharmacy offering continues to expand. We don't want you to have to ever stand in line at the pharmacy again. With Amazon Pharmacy, you can order your prescription medications in just a few clicks, and everything will be delivered to your door with same-day delivery, including refills too. You receive 24/7 pharmacist support, the prices are transparent, most insurance plans are accepted, and Prime members receive even more savings. In grocery, we continue to invest across multiple formats to better serve your needs. Whole Foods Market remains a leader in organic and fresh foods, and we're proud of the continued improvements in value and quality across its stores and delivery services. But we also know that many of you want us to offer a reliable place to do your full conventional grocery shopping. This is an area where we acknowledge we haven't gotten it right yet. We've experimented with a number of concepts, and while we've made progress, we know that our grocery offering doesn't yet meet the bar you've come to expect from us. That's frustrating for you, and it's frustrating for us too. Please know that we are learning a lot, and we're committed to building a grocery experience that's convenient, consistent, and valuable for your everyday shopping needs. We're continually increasing our vigilance when it comes to product authenticity and safety. We've invested significantly in technologies, partnerships, and humans to review identity and prevent counterfeit goods from ever reaching our marketplace. And if they do, we seek to eliminate them as quickly as possible. We know your trust is paramount, and we'll continue doing everything we can to maintain it. Offering great prices is core to our mission. That's why we're always working to reduce our own costs, whether in logistics, operations, or technology, so that we can pass those savings on to you. This has become even more important in today's environment, where costs can fluctuate due to global supply chains, inflation, or new tariffs. If tariffs are imposed that raise the cost of imported goods, it may become harder to keep certain prices down. While we'll do everything we can do to minimize the impact through supplier partnerships, sourcing changes, and our own operational efficiencies, there may be times when we need to pass some of those costs increases along. We'll be transparent with you if and when that happens. Our goal is always to give you the best value possible. From the early days of Prime to our investments in same-day delivery, we've always believed that fast delivery isn't just a luxury, it's a core part of the Amazon experience. One of the most effective ways we make this possible is by bringing products closer to you. We've strategically placed fulfillment centers across the country and continue to move more inventory into local facilities. The closer an item is to you, the faster and more cost effectively we can deliver it to you. This approach not only improves speed and lower shipping costs, it also helps reduce our carbon footprint by limiting the distance our products have to travel. We're investing in innovation not just to improve efficiency, but to better serve you, whether it's through Rufus to guide you as you shop, personalized recommendations, easier returns, voice shopping with Alexa, or upcoming AI to provide more useful product images. We're focused on making the Amazon experience better for everyone. We know that more and more of your purchases are coming to Amazon. That means a lot to us, and we don't take it lightly. We see this as a responsibility to keep raising the bar, to continually offer better selection, sharper prices, faster and more reliable delivery, improved shopping experiences, and a higher standard of customer service. Our teams are hard at work reimagining everything from how we manage inventory to how we build our software and how we fulfill your orders. Most importantly, we're always listening. Your feedback is essential. It informs what we build, what we improve, and what we prioritize. If there's something you think we can do better, or something you love and want us to do more of, please let us know. We're proud of the trust you place in us every day. We'll keep working hard to earn that trust and be the place where you turn for the things you need and love. With appreciation, Andy Jassy, President and CEO, Amazon. Now, I know that was a little bit long, and I cut it down quite a bit.
But it's interesting. I had a slightly different end, and where I just said, "That's it for now." I hope this will be the beginning of an ongoing conversation between us. And in fact, to make that happen, here's my email address, jeff@amazon.com. When you have a question, an observation, or a complaint, especially a complaint, let me know. Just as Amazon is your advocate to suppliers, I want to be your advocate to Amazon. Sincerely, Andy Jassy.
I like that. But you use Jeff at Amazon as his email?
Oh, I said Jeff. I meant.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let Bezos get it off.
You're right. Old habits die hard.
The inbox is blowing up. What's going on?
Andy at Amazon.com. Sorry. I missed that.
No, I love it. Yeah.
So, I mean, so a couple of things come to mind. And I thought about it as I was reading yours and also as you were talking about it.
Yeah.
And one is we make an assumption, I think, that everybody out there, every Amazon customer knows who Andy Jassy is.
True.
And I wonder if
most don't.
Right. I think most people don't. I mean, civilians, we know it because we live this stuff, and investors would know it from an investment point of view.
Yes.
But I think the average person who shops on Amazon they know who Jeff Bezos is because Jeff Bezos is more of a celebrity and the biggest and best midlife crisis in the history of mankind has been very public. But I don't know that if you put, 100 people chosen randomly off the street in a room and either showed them Andy Jassy's picture or put his name up there, that they would know who that is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you were to just ask those 100 people who is the CEO of Amazon, I think you'd get the number one answer would still probably be Jeff Bezos.
Right.
Right. Number two answer would not know. And Jassy would be, probably third, but I think a distant third.
But I think which I think actually underlines the importance of doing something like this.
Right.
Right. Because it does sort of personalize it. And in a way that can be negative or positive.
Yeah. It's risky. Yeah.
It's risky, but I think in a world where you're always trying to differentiate yourself, everybody knows who Stu Leonard Jr. is if you're a Stu Leonard's customer. Right. People know who Danny Wegman is. They know the Wegman family. They may not be that. I mean, it depends to the degree to which you're invested. But Wegman customers are different because they're so invested in the company. Yeah. And maybe the same goes for, say, HEB. They know there's a Butt family. But I'll bet you, I mean, nobody knows right now. I was going to say nobody knows who the CEO of Kroger is right now or Albertsons, but that's probably a bad example because they've gone through changes. But I think that nobody knows who the CEO of Costco is.
Right.
And I just wore Home Depot or. So I think that there's a lesson to be taken from our fictional version of this, right? Which is that personalizing the business and connecting to your customer in a different kind of way is a really important thing to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. but I do feel like the entity or the person or the connection that is, Amazon is really as much the totality of that Amazon experience that a customer gets,
Right.
as much as it is the person behind it. Although I think there is a lot of value in understanding the person behind it, kind of a little bit how they're wired, particularly their own customer obsession and
Right.
how they lead the company, right, to carry out that customer obsession,
Right.
right, and that's felt, across the company. I think that's really really important because you don't really know at Amazon, you don't really know anybody there, right? I mean, everybody at Amazon is pretty behind the scenes
Yeah.
by design. Again, in the industry, you see them a little bit more. And maybe in business stuff, you might see a little bit more about AWS.
Right.
But for the most part, their team does stay behind. It struck me as I was writing this and trying to keep it short.
Right.
Um, there's just there it really helps you appreciate the enormity of what Amazon does to serve their customer, right? We didn't talk about we didn't talk much about AWS and their other businesses, but just in the retail space, like just the amount of innovation and commitment that they have to that very simple value proposition,
Right.
right? Of great selection,
Right.
great prices, delivered fast. Like that is as simple of a guarantee as you can make to customers. And yet, they spend billions of dollars per year, in improving that. Pretty impressive. And, you think about just all the new innovation that's happening across the retail business, you kind of take for granted that Amazon's always innovating. When you actually start to write about it, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to include, these new categories or this type of initiative. I'm just going to can't.
Right.
It's just amazing the volume. It's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even talk. We didn't. I mean, in my printed version, I talked a little bit about as Amazon Prime Video and
Yep.
addressed sort of both things they've screwed up and the things
Hmm.
they have that have done well. Including a promise not to screw up James Bond, although I'm not confident they'll be able to live up to that promise, but we'll see.
No.
But but it also occurred to me, and this is, I think, really is to me, this is an interesting component of your side of it, which is you talked in there about, Whole Foods. But then you talked about how we haven't gotten grocery right. And when we've tried all these different formats. Again, it's sort of the same question I just asked about Andy Jassy. How many customers out there are aware of it? If you're not in a market that they just
No, no, yeah.
go or fresh or anything like that, you have no clue.
No.
And so um, to me, that is indicative of why of first of all how far they have to. I mean, to even move the needle in physical grocery. I mean,
Oh.
they're so far from having done that, and the
Well, they'd
degree.
have to get the format right, and they'd have to have hundreds of them
Right.
to move the market.
Yeah, which is why people think, they think that every time somebody goes out of business, people just jump up and say, yeah, Amazon should buy those because they can turn them into stores. Well, first of all, listen, I had that thought the other day when with the story about Rite Aid, right? Liquidating. There's going to be a lot of locations available. They're not that big.
Yeah, no, they're
They're
good size for Amazon.
a good size for Amazon.
Yeah,
Problem is they haven't figured out what to put in there, right? If they
exactly.
had a format ready to go that they knew that was firing on all cylinders,
Hmm.
then it might make sense. The worst thing they could do now is to do something like that and get it wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not how Amazon invests. They wouldn't do that without having the model pretty well. Wouldn't have to be perfected, but it has to be within striking distance, and not require uh, major changes to
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned again, and this is where I think Amazon sometimes falls down. You mentioned Rufus. Well, I'm about as frequent an Amazon shopper as you could find, right? I mean, between Prime and Subscribe and Save and the whole, 9 yards.
Yeah,
And I mean, I'm only tangentially sort of aware of Rufus, and I'm more aware of Rufus because of my work writing about Amazon than I am as a customer who buys from Amazon.
yeah.
Rufus, as a shopper, Rufus has been a non-entity
Yeah, it's there on the site, but yeah, you're not really drawn to it.
in sort of the same way that I felt like Amazon One which I find tremendously helpful when I go to Whole Foods. It's true. I think it's terrific technology, but they don't really sell it. They don't market it effectively to say, here's why you should be using this technology.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
And it's interesting to me that they have not. I mean, I think you could even make the same argument about Amazon Go, right? The just walk out technology. It's like they created the technology, but they didn't really. It didn't really like they put their back into it somehow. To me,
Yeah.
maybe that's wrong because God
Well,
knows
I
they
think they put their back
millions
into
of
the
dollars.
technology. I don't think they put their back into the experiences
That's what
where
I
the
mean.
technology is
Right,
deployed. Yeah.
right. And then put their back into selling it.
Yeah.
Right, to sell. This is why you should love this. This is how we're making your lives better, right? It was like, wow, we got this great technology,
Yeah,
and
but it's attached to a meh retail
right,
experience. So does the technology, is the technology that cool that, this
yeah,
mediocre at best retail
yeah.
experience, is sufficient? Yeah, I don't think so. I do still think,
But there we
ultimately,
go.
not to go down that tangent, but
Yeah,
I do feel like ultimately there is, well, and you see it in like the stadium stuff and the airport stuff and
right,
all that. There's definitely a format where that stuff hums.
right. Oh,
And I think, and it's fine, those aren't Amazon stores and Amazon does very well leasing the technology there, I'm sure. But, ultimately there could be a convenience format that Amazon could win with that perhaps. But, there's also a lot of really good convenience formats that are out there
right.
and, just bring the technology and partner there.
Well, and that leads to my continued belief that eventually Amazon's going to get out of other than Whole Foods, will get out of the physical grocery business and just license technology to other companies, turning what's a money suck into a money generator. Um,
Yeah.
but it's interesting. Again, writing this email, part of the thing that it kept occurring to me is how much we were writing about that most customers don't even think about or don't know about.
Or just
And
happen. Yeah. It just
right,
happens. It just happens behind the scenes.
and I think there's a really positive thing in seeing what's going on behind the curtain. It
Yeah.
personalizes business in a way that I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think so. And it's effectively it's further differentiating
Right.
for them to show a little bit of the effort that they're putting in and the investment that's being put in to be able to deliver that experience. Pretty
Well,
cool.
listen, I hope that if Andy reads this, he takes the hint. He'll do a better job than we did. I hope that I hope that mostly I hope this encourages other retailers to say, how can I communicate directly with my shoppers in a way that I'm not doing, especially at a time when um, we're in a very volatile environment, and reassuring customers that you're there for them, that you're their advocate, that you're looking out for them, not just blindly passing along,
Yeah.
price increases and maybe taking a little extra margin on the side, which even if you're not, customers may think you are. I think it makes
Hmm.
sense to communicate that.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, as I said, the whole text version is down below, and we will be back with another innovation conversation in the near future. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening and enjoy the read.
I'll see you next time, everybody.